We vibing with another show. Tell me everybody, can you catch this flow? We're breaking down mental class sentence so you know who we win. Tony Dixon and Friends. They tell me that the sky's the limit. Your purpose calling you, baby, you make the difference. Take charge, do you know who you win? Tony Dixon and Friends. Who we win? Tony Dixon and Friends. Yeah, yeah. Tony Dixon and Friends. Tony Dixon and Friends. Who we win? Tony Dixon and Friends.
Welcome to the Tony Dixon and Friends podcast. My name is Eric McCalpine, and our goal is to educate and inspire you to break those mental glass ceilings in your life. And today I'm joined with my brother, Mr. Kecalf Bailey.
What's up, E?
What's going on, Kecalf? How you been?
Doing good, man. Good to be back in the lab.
Yes, sir. And I'm also joined with Mr. Big Brother himself, Mr. Tony Dixon. TD, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
Man, life is good, man.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yes, sir. Well, listen, I think we've been at it for a while, and we've been receiving some really good feedback. And I want to open up the podcast today by sharing some of the feedback that we received from some of our viewers. Several people have shared with me that they appreciate the vulnerability that we've shared. And they've also appreciate the fact that we're able to have open and honest, transparent conversations. And several people have told me that they've taken that back and tried to find ways to apply it to their personal lives. What about you guys, man? What type of feedback have you been hearing from the podcast?
Yeah, man. I tell you, got one in particular. I'm going to give a shout out to my cousin, Paula. She said, hey, cuz, watch episode 8. You tried to take me out again with the crying faces. The nuggets that Reverend Kroon was dropping when he talked about forgiveness. Wow, that was an amazing episode. Super proud of you, Eric, and Kecalf. And I get stuff like that not only from family, but even from friends. And I think a senior VP at a Fortune 500 company was like, man, prophetic word you guys are putting down. But more than anything, Eric, I tell you what I hear is it's just so good to see men be vulnerable. Awesome. And talk about topics that other people are not talking about. Yeah.
And no, for me, man, and with this, you're right. We've been at this a while. And what stands out to me, we've had a couple of opportunities to do some interviews to promote the show. People wanting us to come on to hear about us and what we bring to the table. And whether that was the Kip Tyner show or whether that was the Gary Harris show that Tony did, what was stood out to me is people saying, you know what? I've been battling through depression, and hearing this story was right on time for me. And, you know, hearing people to say that, hey, it was at that moment that they found something beneficial through just hearing the interviews and what we're putting out there. And that's what we're here for, to help people and to support them and be there for them. And so it's just been tremendous.
Man, that's awesome, man. But Kecalf, you said something about one of the comments, and I wanted to start there. When you talk about depression, that's what kind of got us together. I know we've all been knowing each other for quite a long time. And on one of the radio interviews that we did, Tony, you went public and you talked about dealing with depression and even suicidal thoughts. And I think that shook up a lot of people. I think when you started to talk about it, we talked in a couple of previous episodes about masking and covering things up. And I'd be one of the first people to tell you, you've done an awesome job of masking some of the negative thoughts that you've had in your life. But share with our audience what happened.
Yeah, man. It's interesting, man. It's you know, you go back and you think through it. Yeah, you become a professional at masking for sure. And I think what you have to realize, and what I didn't realize at the moment, is that some of these things are human moments. And what I've realized is the biggest advocate that I had, or I guess the biggest attack against me was, it was not what I was dealing with in terms of failure in real life. It was the expectations that I had set for myself, I didn't achieve. So whether that was, you know, as being a father, or how I thought, you know, going into a marriage was supposed to be like, or, you know, growing up in the household I grew up with. My mom and dad was together from middle school, right? So being the oldest child in the house, I'm the one setting the example. And here I go have children out of wedlock. So having children out of wedlock immediately made me think I'm not married material, which led down a further path of me dimming my light and having that negative self-talk. And what's crazy about it is as I've started to share this story more, if you know, hindsight now, I can look back at my own story and say, how could you ever have moments where you felt this way? But I think the reality of it is, if you're not vulnerable with other people and you don't have that circle of accountability friends, there's going to be moments in life where you get hit across the face or slapped across the face with something you're dealing with in life. And if you don't have those people there that you can lean on, be open with, be honest with, that can hold you accountable to what you said you was going to be or what you say you was going to do, it puts you in a position where you're isolated. And what I didn't realize, what NFL done for me, because my depression happened during NFL, the fear of failure became so strong that I began isolating myself from the audience. Now, as crazy as it sounds, like there will be games that we would win when I was with Dallas Cowboys. But because of one or two plays that I made that I didn't think I showed up the way I should have, or a tackle that I missed, or interception that I didn't get, you know, at the end of the game, I didn't celebrate. Matter of fact, I would go and isolate myself because right now I'm thinking about putting all my thoughts and time into what I did not do right, instead of thinking about the things that I did do right. And how does that translate into my life? Well, as success started happening, and I mentioned this in another show, that success remorse started hitting. And after a while, when you're around the wrong circle, the more success you have, the more they turn their backs on you because of jealousy, because of their own self-doubt, their own imposter syndromes, because you're shining too bright for them. Yeah. So in my case, when the circles didn't change, those people didn't have the capacity to deal with the success I was getting. And because of my effort to remain loyal to those people, put me in a situation where here I am leaning on them and they're not there, right? So, and then the people I should have been leaning on, like you, Kelf, and those others, when y'all would come around, it gave me energy. So why at that point am I going to talk to y'all about it? Because I'm drawing from you all, and that's giving me enough to go back and live. But when I got back home, guess what I could do? I could close those blinds. I could be in that isolation. And guess what was happening? Negative self-talk. No lie. For anybody that's going through this, I obviously, now looking back, I definitely, encourage you to go and get the support, get the counseling, get the things that you need, because I come from a generation that if you sit in front of a therapist, something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so because of that, I even had professional doctors on Dallas Cowboys, but you think I used them? Nah. Yeah. I didn't even use the resources that was there to help me talk through it, because growing up the way I grew up, that's a weakness. And as a man, you don't show no weakness. You don't say nothing wrong with you. You show up and you do what you got to do. So in those moments, this is no lie. In those moments of isolation, I was hearing voices, man. Like I would literally be having moments where I would be like the angel on one side and the spirit of death on the other side. And I would hear the angel talking to me, talking about some Tony, snap out of this. We can do it. The other dude talking about, man, nobody care about you. Who calling? Is your phone ringing? Who's at your door? Who's here with you? And I would literally go through those moments. That's how dark it was for me. I would go through those moments of back and forth. And it was some people that was close to me that I would joke about it, but I would joke my way out of it. But in those moments, you know what I was doing? And this is the part where when you know people and you're really paying attention to their mannerisms, this is where we have to have more discernment and be aware of when things are changing. A lot of people, when they're going through depression, they give you crumbs. They'll make a statement to see how you react to it. man, things are tough for me. Usually if you're in the wrong circle, what they say, man, it can't be that tough.
Yeah.
Can't be that tough, man. I'll snap out of it. You're going to be all right. But guess what I'm going to do at that point? I'm going to bag right back out because you can't handle what I'm trying to throw out. So I bag right back out of it. Or if nothing else happened, you either gain weight, lose weight.
Yeah.
People see that, man, you don't gain some weight. You've been eating good, huh? Yeah, I've been eating pretty good. But if you know a person ain't never gained weight in their life and all of a sudden they don't gain weight, something wrong.
Yeah.
Person don't lost weight, something wrong. We joke about women shaving their heads when something go wrong or a relationship break up. What do we say? Oh, shoot, you going that Jada look, a Janae, right?
Yeah.
But all of these things are signs that a lot of times we don't pay attention to. But guess what? When you come and you say it and acknowledge it in a way where it's almost like it's cool. Oh, shoot, I see you got the bald head going there. Or in my case, we don't joke, I had locks.
Yeah.
Anybody that know me,
Come on.
Tony Dixon ain't never had no dreadlocks.
Nope.
Never had no dreadlocks, man. Barely had a good high top fade, right?
Yeah.
So when I came home for that camp that time, and y'all saw the dreadlocks, people were like, "Oh, you got the roster going." Yeah, I had the roster going, all right, and the roster was going all the way around from binge drinking, from binge smoking to all those things. And when I showed them in front of you all with the kids, guess what? The lights came on, so I performed
Yeah.
in front of the kids, right? But those were moments that so many people saw those moments and was celebrating. Oh, shoot, you got the dreadlocks going. Not even thinking about Tony Dixon ain't never had no dreadlocks. That dude always been clean cut. He always been that. How in the world did he grow that much hair?
Yeah.
So in the darkness, guess what was going on? I'm growing hair, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm isolated. And in those moments, I built up enough energy to show up to throw you all off the scent, right? But you all helped me as well, because when you made those statements, I could fall right into the masking based on what the lead in that you gave me. You got dreadlocks. Yeah, man, I've been growing my locks.
Yeah.
And I can still play like nothing was wrong. So, it's that's just part of the story, man. And, that was then getting to, not to trigger the audience, but to let you know, but getting to the point of, having a gun, right? And literally taking the clip out. I was smart enough to make sure wasn't nothing in the chamber, right? But literally was playing with it to the point where I knew the trigger was set up and it would sit at this moment and was just clicking it, pull it again and clicking it and just trying to figure out, all right, do I want to do it this way? Do I want to do it this way? And you know what? It got to a point where I said, if you do it like this, people are going to say that something was wrong with you, you're mental, you're crazy, they're not going to understand. This is the most selfish thing you can do. So guess what I did? So I said, that's not going to work. I went and bought a motorcycle. Then I got another motorcycle. Because my point was, if I have a wreck on this motorcycle and die, guess what people are going to say? I don't know why Tony went and got that motorcycle, but they dangerous. Nobody will ever think that if I died by driving that motorcycle, that it was because of what I was going through. And Lord save me. It was many times.
Come on.
It was many times where I literally was driving those motorcycles so reckless that I would get home, and this is no lie, and I'll be shaking for like 30 minutes from the adrenaline rush. And anybody ride a motorcycle, they know what I'm talking about. Like I would be shaking I had a Gixxer 1000, Suzuki Gixxer 1000 for those that know that, and had it maxed out and all that. Then I had a Hayabusa as well. That's out of the factory going 200. It's 200 on the dash.
Come on.
Right? I'm going down the busy streets in Dallas, Texas, going upwards to 180 to 200 miles per hour anytime I'm on a motorcycle. Saved from that as well. So wow. I'm a living witness and testimony, and definitely want to. I could spend a lot of time talking about this, but even being able to talk about this now, the only reason I can is because the work that I've done to really find out why this happened, and having the support of brothers like you all, where I'm open to talk about it. And as much as I'm holding back the emotions right now, I know that I'm a personal testimony that if I can make it through this, I don't care how dark it is for you out there. If I can make it through this, you too can make it through this.
Come on.
And whomever I'm talking to right now, you know what you're masking. I hear this from my parents. My mom didn't even know about this. Why was it so easy? Because it was on the phone. I can always fix my face when I talk to mom. Mom, how you doing? Hey, mom, how you doing? As soon as I hang up the phone, be like, shh. Enough energy to get through the phone call, and I'm still masking it from those that love. So I know what it's like. And while I'm not a professional to help you get through it, I'm a professional in what I've experienced. And I can tell you that if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, wow. Wow. But TD, you didn't share this with me until like 20 years later.
Yeah.
We were doing camps from the early 2000s, 2003 to like 2008, 2009. And we would always get together over the summertime. And I was there after you opened up and said that to me. I remember it like it was yesterday. You drew your hair out and had locks. You had the visor, and you showed up with the sleeveless T-shirt. Mm-hmm. And you would always talk about the cars and motorcycles that you had. And honestly, I thought that was a guy from small town, West Alabama, from Reform, Alabama, making it to the NFL, living his best life. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Not realizing that you were masking and you were dealing with depression. And you said also when people gain weight or lose weight, you know, we make jokes and, and we compliment them about things like that. But how often are the drastic changes that people are making in their lives a cry for help? Mm-hmm. After we look back at it, I think that I can say this, that we were probably too young to know what to recognize. But now that we have the knowledge that we have today, I wish I would have reached out to you. Why didn't you tell me? I saw you. Why didn't you open up?
You know, because that's admitting that I have a problem, right? And so it falls right back in line with the mentality that you're going through at that time. It's like the selfish ego part of you is like, if you know me and love me enough, you should see it. Right? So when, in my example, when people didn't recognize it, I equated it to people not loving me the way I love them. Right? So in those moments, what it did, because if you think back on it, Eric, like even in our scenario, the communication went down. Yeah. Right? And when we were planning the camp, it went to a point where I was like, just do it.
And I took it as if that was trust in me.
And part of it was.
But I didn't take it as, and I think I didn't take it as you were going into a shell.
Yeah. Part of it was, but guess what? When you're in that moment, you become an expert in warfare, so to speak. I knew that was your strength. Your strength is organization. Your strength is taking charge. Your strength is keeping me in order, keeping it in line. Heck, the reason we was doing it was because you sat there and watched Eddie George doing a football camp and said, man, why can't we do this? And you called me up and said, let's make this happen. Yeah. So guess what? It's easy for me to use your strength against you.
Wow. But to talk about the brotherhood, what about Kecalf? Y'all were roommates for 4 years. Yeah. Y'all were in each other's wedding.
Yeah, well, in Kecalf's situation, very, very similar. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. Yeah. Like we didn't have the open dialogue and communication, even when we were roommates. Like we've 20 years later sat back and realized we was going through the same things, and we were roommates. Yeah. And didn't even walk down the hall. He was right next door. He was literally open my door and, yo, Kecalf, what you doing? And we didn't even have those conversations then. And then when he called me up to be in his wedding, number one, I was happy for him, but we wasn't really talking on a regular then.
That's true.
It was more of like, hey, this is my brother. I want you at the wedding. I was honored. So now when he said that, he gave me time to get right. I was like, shoot, I
Come on.
gotta lose weight. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Because when I show up at this wedding, I can't be looking like this, right? So it actually gave me permission, or the strength, in other words, to think differently, because I didn't want to show him that different side of me. It ain't no different to everybody when it comes to family reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family
Think about our
class
family.
reunions. Yeah.
When you come to that family reunion, you got time to get right.
Yeah.
And
So this is it. So man, this is, the more we talk, the more we learn. You know, it's drawing it out, and so I never knew that perspective. So of course, hey, living in the same apartment, and we now look back and know that, hey, two young people that's trying to figure it out, that don't know right now. So communication skills, those things weren't there. But it's so powerful right now just to kind of see the dots connecting and what was going on in that situation. But yeah, you're right. I never would have known that, Tony. I never would have known that in that space that's what was going on, you know, in that moment. But as you sat and talked, you know, a couple of things stood out to me, because this is so powerful, because it's showing whoever's watching what the face of this looks like. Okay, it's showing that, and hopefully it's allowing somebody to find connection and say, you know what, it's okay, and I can make it through because of hearing Tony's story. So one thing that stood out to me, you mentioned isolation so many times. And one piece that I just want to call out there, because with me, I'm a defensive player from my sports background. So I pride myself in strategy, understanding my opponent, what's going on in that space. And you have to recognize where your enemy can attack you, okay? You look at any type of predator, enemy, what they attack is that one that's in isolation. And so when I heard Tony talking about he would isolate and he would hear those voices, right? Okay, that's the enemy at work.
Yeah.
Because he's drawn you out into isolation, into being attacked. And so I just wanted to put a pin in that moment, so anybody who's listening, that they can recognize, hey, I'm not drawing into safety when I go into isolation. I'm putting myself at more risk.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to two can accomplish twice as much as one, and results can be much greater. When one falls, the other lifts them up.
Yeah.
Like when you don't have anybody there to lift you up, only thing you have is the strength that's remaining in you. Yeah. And none of us was meant to be in this life isolated.
Yeah.
But to your point, the things that isolate you, you know, the drinking, you know, the drugs, right? And then you start getting into the moments of getting, you know, temporary comfort, right? And that's when most people get into the sexual side of it, where you have like bouncing in and out of relationships, and people wondering like, so what's wrong with that person? Well, there's a lot wrong with that person, but you're using that moment to try to create a bond that's not there. Yep. Right? And that actually leaves you more empty.
Yeah.
Because when that person leaves, you realize they ain't here because of love.
Yeah.
They here because of the moment. And it's just a moment of search. But yes, Kev, you are exactly right. Like isolation is the biggest attack of the enemy. Whether you look at it biblically, when Jesus was attacked in the wilderness at his weakest point, or whether you look at it, you know, in the human aspect of life, like if you don't have anybody there to speak life to you, where's the life going to come from? Yeah. Right. And, you know, that's what my wife represented as a friend. She was, you know, one of the main points of not letting me keep the blinds closed. Yeah. I reference that all the time, right? That I became a person who had insomnia. Like I was up at night, sleeping during the day.
Yeah.
Because I was up partying, it's funny to think about it now, man, but I had Guitar Hero,
Yeah.
the little band game,
Yeah.
man. Shoot, I'll be in there playing the drums, cuz, working on the guitar, drinking and smoking.
Yeah.
By myself having a party. And then I'll be asleep during the day. And was sitting in there, and she would be the one to come in and be like, man, why are you sitting in the dark?
Yeah. But we talk about some of the things that we recognize that people do in an effort to identify depression and things that people are dealing with. But it's also things that people don't do. You also talked about isolation, how people find themselves depressed and they find themselves going into a shell and they find themselves not coming around. And I think, Kecalf, you and I talked about when we were doing the football camp, you later said that you were going through isolation yourself because you would never show up when we gave you the invitation to do the football camps.
Yeah, yeah. No, and this definitely takes us on a journey backwards to be able to see moments that we didn't even know that we were in during that time. I believe that might have been around the time where I had just moved from Alabama to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
With my job. And so it was easy for me to isolate. I knew 0 people in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it was easy enough for me to say, okay, well, I'm good. I can't, get there, whatever it might be. But thinking back on that time, man, that was the start of it, because you got to realize, all right, well, that was the abrupt end of my football career for me. And so now I'm in Pennsylvania on my own. And so it's these moments that's just bringing it back. And Tony and I, like I said, we've had these conversations to talk about that we were dealing with similar things while we were living together. But we're also seeing that parallel to just throughout. Now, it didn't show up to me to where I bought a expensive, fast motorcycle or anything like that. Tony, you remember the scooter everybody used to ride around the Highlands on that I was scared to get on that scooter. So that wasn't going to be there. But it shows up differently in that way. But no, all of this stuff's making me realize that, it's very similar, very connected in that way. And the invitations that I turned down that I'm making the connection to, like, that's the reason why.
Yeah. And when you think about this type of stuff, man, as we mentioned, depression, anxiety can come up and show up in so many different ways. And it can be triggered from so many different activities, whether it's you having an abrupt end to your football career, whether it's you as a child failing a test, not getting a promotion on your job. There's so many different things that can make people slip into depression. But I think we want to make sure we call to people's attention the effort to recognize changes that people make. I've always lived by the thought that when things change about people, things have changed about that person. Recognizing those changes that people make in their lives. When people cut their hair that have always had long hair, when people grow their hairs out that have always had a tight haircut, different clothes that people make. And I understand that we want to grow and mature, and people do make changes. But in some cases, we should have the awareness in life to recognize the changes that they have made. If this episode has helped you, we ask that you share it with someone. We ask that you leave a comment in the comment section. Tell others about what we're talking about with the Tony Dixon and Friends podcast. Subscribe. Thank you so much. Eric McCalpine, Kecalf Bailey, and Mr. Tony Dixon.